We'll take a few questions, but because I have the mic, I'll make a comment and ask a question of my own. My comment, sir, is that this is mainstream, but you didn't make any comment around funds that are available in Nigeria, the Nigeria Pension Fund assets, which today, as of November last year, was about 18 trillion, about 19, yeah, which if you convert it to dollars, would be about 19 billion USD at 1,000 Naira exchange rate. And I think that in itself, from a policy perspective, can be mobilized to provide some buffers. I would have liked to hear your views around the use of the pension fund assets. My question then is in terms of your analysis of the options available to Nigeria. You listed 3. One of the 3 options you listed was by selling of assets. And right from the time President Jonathan was in office, we've been talking about, liquidating assets to raise financing, maybe sell down on some of our oil acreages, sell down on NNPC's investments, maybe even list NNPC if you like, and create an LLNG model out of NNPC. And the question that no one seems to answer is, what then happens after that? Because once you sell the jewel in the tray, if you like, once you say, okay, so there's a goose that's laying the golden eggs. You not only sell the eggs, because now the eggs are already fully forward sold, if you like. We now go after the goose and we sell it. What then happens when there's the next shock? I'd like you to please address that as well. But before you respond to me, we'll take you, sir, and who else? Can take maybe 5 before we close. All right, sir.
Okay, my name is Sheyi Adeyemo. Thank you so much, Doctor, for a very insightful presentation. My question is very straightforward. So we all have continued to say, during Obasanjo, even us that are no economics will say, we suspect that we did well during that time. The question is quite simple. So with all your network and interaction with these people, since we did it before, we're not referring to another nation, us. Can't we all say, can we do what we did again? And some of you that are close to them can tell them so that they can do it again. Because really, I don't understand why it's a big deal to do what we have done again so that we can save all of us from all this trouble. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. The first question, pension. Okay, so when many people say we have 19 trillion in pension, I think the second part of the question is, where do we have it? We have 19 trillion in government debt. We don't have it in cash. Government has borrowed it. The same government has borrowed it now. That's what they are borrowing now. What do we think they are borrowing? Is the pension this thing they are borrowing now? They have it. All the bonds and everything is in government debt. So that's where the money is. The money is not liquid. It's asset, it's not liquid. So that's the answer to that one. Sell assets. When we say they should sell assets, actually, it's not necessarily for them to sell assets. We should just do what they did in Saudi Arabia. And what you just do is just take your NNPC and do a proper valuation, take it to the market. So if you sell 5% or 10%, you may actually be able to get, I don't know what you will get, because we don't know how many dead bodies are buried. So that's the problem. So with everything that you know elsewhere, when you bring it here, you have to start applying caveats, You apply one caveat, then you apply caveat to the caveat, because it's never straightforward. So we don't know but I would like to see NNPC. I mean, why not see NNPC? In fact, NNPC is not only one company. In NNPC, they're probably 9 close to $1 billion companies. Yes. So why not even try 1 or 2 and let's see what we have there? Because that's really how you actually sell your company. It's not sell. It's just like Dangote now. I mean, I'm sure Dangote has not really sold Dangote. You know what I mean? But Dangote is listed, but he has significant shares in Dangote. So the government can do the same. And that way you can raise revenue. And in fact, once you start like that, you also start to appreciate the value of your company, the asset of your company start to appreciate. They start to do deals. They start to borrow in their own name. But at the moment, they are borrowing in the balance sheet is seated in government balance sheet. So that's a problem. The third one, can we repeat the same? We can repeat the same. We can. But there's only one way you can repeat it. It takes courage and it takes discipline. Courage and discipline. So when we find the courage and we find the discipline, we'll do so. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you so much for your, well, just being yourself with that presentation. Two quick questions. You talked about volatility, and I think that was sort of more over time. I want to differentiate volatility with what I call the dollar Naira yo-yo, whereby, I think about a month or so ago, we were screaming, it's going up to, all of a sudden it's gone down again, we are celebrating, the next thing it's gone up again. So that one is more like, it's not volatility, for me it's yo-yo. So what's really driving that? Because there are a lot of people about speculators and, well, I'm sure you're trying to explain. And then maybe linked to that is what kind of investor would you be? Would you be a foreign direct investor into the economy or more of a portfolio investor? Because, if you see your topic is like what kind of opportunities or what worries or opportunities for foreign investors? So if I'm a portfolio investor coming in, quick in and out, or a foreign direct investor whereby I'm putting money to fixed assets, roads, bridges, and all those traditional things. Just a bit of a differentiation. Do you understand? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for your brilliant presentation. I just want to ask you, what do you think the likely exchange rate will be at the end of this year? All things being taken into consideration.
Thank you, sirs. So in any period of volatility, anyone that has done business will know that it's very difficult to plan long term. That's just basically what it is. Very difficult to plan long term. And if you can't plan long term, it means you can't invest long term. If you can't invest long term, it means that you cannot actually generate the growth. And if you cannot generate the growth, it means that you can't generate the jobs. So that's the sequence. So ultimately, the growth is actually not growth until it begins to actually generate jobs and begin to reduce poverty. So the reason we see so much of FPI at the moment is because those guys, they can do their calculation over 2-3 months, and they know how much they will make in the Nigerian economy. Some of the model that these guys use, some of us cannot even afford to put up that kind of model, but they know exactly what they are doing. They know when they enter, they know when they come out. That's number one. But the second aspect to that, which most people don't actually think about, is that what they actually invest in Nigeria is a very, very tiny fraction of their global investment. So that is not what we are. We are not looking for crumbs. What we actually want is serious, serious investment. And until we have that macroeconomic stability, we can actually have those serious investment. So that is why I said the heavy lifting must be done by us. The heavy lifting must be done by us. So if I want to buy a property on mortgage, the bank will ask me, go and bring your own equity. It's the same principle. You want to attract US $1 billion. They are asking you, of course, not face-to-face, because it's not human being, it's economy. They are watching the data and wondering, where is your own equity? Because the reason why they have projected, I forgot to mention, the reason why they have projected that we may be the 4th largest in the economy, and I just released a video on that at the end of this year, is because, okay, let's contextualize this. In 2015, Nigeria was 492 billion US dollars, right? Algeria, that they are now saying will leapfrog Nigeria at the end of this year, was 187 billion US dollars. So from 492, we are now projected to be 266 at the end of this year. So that is about 250 billion short in the space of 8 years. Why? It's not because of our fundamentals. It's because when you don't have foreign reserves, right, your Naira, your currency becomes so volatile and so weak. But it's not necessarily a reflection. Do we look like our Algeria economy is stronger than ours? I mean, on the face of it, no. The South Africa economy really, really stronger than ours. But if you don't manage, okay, sorry, let me use another example. I think this is the one that will do it. This one will nail it. If you are broke and you are desperate, do you sell a car of 15 million for 5 million or not? Yes, you do. That's it. If you are broke and desperate, your assets are worth nothing. So when you are broke and desperate, you hide the fact that you are desperate. So that is what is happening to our currency at the moment. They know we are desperate. So at the moment, they give us 600 million and they take everything. They give us 1 billion and they take everything. So that is the problem. So we have to do the heavy lifting ourselves. We have to save. We have to save. And it must be led by the government. Likely exchange rate at the end of this year, I can't tell. If I can tell, I'll be a billionaire. Because I will come and meet every one of you and say, okay, I've raised a fund. I'll raise a fund and say, put it. I will give you this at the end of this year. I can't tell. But I'm a Nigerian. I genuinely really, really hope and believe that we can stabilize this. But at this rate, I'm not sure how soon we can do that. Thank you.
Sorry, one quick final one for me. There's been some talk about the need for us to rebase our GDP. That we did it about, 10 years or so ago. And the argument is that there are a lot of other elements that have come to play in the structure of our economy that we're ignoring. And in fact, the person who I had a discussion with was arguing that we should be upwards of $1 billion dollars or $1 trillion. So what's your view?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. We can't.
I don't think there's any need to rebase.
No, rebase is actually if I remember my economics very well, it's supposed to be done like every 15 years, rebase. But what is the structure of the economy that has emerged since 2014? I'm just trying to think. What is the structure of the economy that has emerged that has, I don't know, maybe another 1% or 2%? Because the last one that we did, there are two things about it. The last one that we did, it was the first in over almost 30, 40 years. So it's been a long time before we did it. So that's why it has so much impact. Of course, the second point was that telecoms had come and dominate Nigerian economy, and that was a big chunk. It was telecoms and, of course, the creative industry that made us leap that much. So I don't think we have anywhere at the moment that we can get this kind of numbers from. I don't think so. But where we can get the numbers from, there's so much trick in growing your foreign reserves. The moment you grow your foreign reserve, inflation comes down, your currency is stable, you attract US dollars. With that, actually, your exchange rate begins to strengthen against US dollars. So you are getting growth in two ways. You get the growth in your economy, and you get strengthening of your US dollars. So within the space of a decade, yes, we can actually do $1 trillion, but you must do this one. Thank you, sir.
Applause. Thank you so much. I'll just give a rider to your last commentary. I mean, you're right. Telecoms did play a big role in the rebasing when it was done in the Jonathan period. But that was very early years of services industry for us, especially the informal sector. If you look at the trajectory since then and the current level of the informal sector, particularly the war for content and where it is today, AI and the other works, I think if we were to rebase now, we will get a bit more. But should we be doing that? Should that be the focus of how we recover? I'm not quite sure. I think you nailed it in terms of the options available and some of the ideas you shared around what we ought to be doing. Some of these ideas have been shared over time, and I hope, Amaka, in your engagement with the public sector, when you make your presentations to the Minister for Industry and your other stakeholders about what needs to be done to encourage companies like Coca-Cola to stay engaged. I hope you'll be bringing some of these points to the table and engaging Dr. OKITI to be one of your advocates in that communication. So thank you very much to Coca-Cola for bringing you to us today, and thank you very much for spending this time with us.